In today's video, we're diving into a side-by-side comparison of the recently unveiled Ninja 500 and the current Ninja 400 to see what else is new, beyond the facelift and the slight bump in displacement. Starting with the main thing that sets these two apart, which is the powerhouse, the new Ninja 500 is powered by the new Kawasaki Eliminator engine, a liquid-cooled 451cc parallel twin, with 180-degree firing order, which is actually heavily based on the Ninja 400's engine, but new for the 500 is a 52cc boost in displacement, achieved by using a 6.8mm longer stroke than the 400, while retaining the previous 70mm bore. The compression ratio is new, 11.3 to 1, slightly lower than the 400, and for everything else, they are pretty much the same. It still has a double overhead cam with 4 valve per cylinders for the valve train, and power is passed through a 6-speed wet clutch transmission, complete with assist and slipper clutch features. Notably, there is an update on the gear ratio, where the 500 has a new bigger rear sprocket with 43 teeth, replacing the 41 teeth sprocket of the old 400. So, how does this new engine update impact the power output? Well, in terms of horsepower, despite the 500 boasting a bigger engine, both are still churning out identical amounts of power, around 45 horsepower at the crank. This is because the European spec Ninja 500 is made to comply with the A2 license power limit regulation, which means the bikes that are coming to the US or North America may differ in performance. But although the peak horsepower is similar, it now kicks in at 1000 RPM sooner than the 400s. Then, as for torque output, this is where the most significant difference can be found. The Ninja 500 is capable of producing around 42 Nm of torque, a 15% increase over the 400. Which also kicked in at 2000 RPM earlier, leading to stronger low to mid-range grunt, faster acceleration from a standstill, a lower revving engine, and more tractability, which are all well-suited qualities for good commuter bike. As for weight, the new 500 comes in a bit heavier, weighing in at 172 kilograms, a 4 kilograms increase over the 400, resulting in a slightly reduced power-to-weight ratio of roughly 1.4%. Which I think is not substantial if we factor in the new lower peak RPM and the beefier torque output. Along with increased performance, there are also a few new features for the new Ninja 500. Besides ABS brakes, an LED headlight and stop lamp, the Ninja 500 now gets Kawasaki's keyless system, which allows you to remotely release the bike's steering lock and grants you access to the bike's ignition when the provided fob key is close to the bike. On top of that, there is also a TFT display that has smartphone connectivity via Kawasaki's Radiology app, where you can access general settings, vehicle information, and riding logs from your smartphone, and phone notifications are also displayed on the instrument panel on your dash. Keep in mind that those features are exclusive to the SE model. If you decide to get the base model, you'll have an LCD display instead of a TFT, no keyless system, and no USB-C power outlet. In terms of chassis, there is not much to talk about, because the new Ninja 500 retains almost everything from the existing Ninja 400. It still carries the same trellis frame as the Ninja 400, made of high-tensile steel. Then, as for front suspension, unfortunately, there is no upgrade to the upside-down fork. The Ninja 500 still relies on the same 41mm conventional telescopic Kaiba fork, without any adjustability. Same thing goes for the rear shock, where you will find the same Kaiba monoshock that offers only preload adjustment. There are no upgrades on the brakes either. They are still the same 2-piston Nissin caliper, biting on a single 310mm semi-floating disc up front. The tire sizes are unaltered, 110mm width for the front and 150mm for the rear, and as for dimensions, there are slight changes due to the new bodywork. The wheelbase is 5mm longer, and the seat has been redesigned to be slimmer, but still retain the same height of 785mm, while for width, the 500 is slightly wider, precisely 20mm than the 400. Fuel tank remains the same in terms of design and capacity, while for fuel consumption, the Ninja 500 surprisingly has lower claimed fuel consumption, around 2.5% than the 400, possibly due to its lower revving engine. Beyond all of that, other major changes on the new Ninja 500 are the bodywork. The 500 gets a new, sharper design, a more aggressive face, and restyled headlights similar to the ZX6R, and below, you'll also see new side panels with layered designs, as well as the lower fairing section and new tail. So, while the Ninja 500 has seen some improvements over the current 400, I believe it's still essentially the same bike, with the upgrades barely enabling it to keep up with its rivals, such as CF Moto 450 SR, KTM RC390, or Aprilia RS457, all of which are more well-equipped than the Ninja. Lastly, for things I'd like to see changed in the new Ninja 500, firstly its name. I think 500 is a bit misleading for a 451cc bike, and the Ninja 450 seems more fitting. Other than that, a simple non-adjustable upside-down fork, or at the very least, a new sportier and less boxy swing arm design could significantly enhance the new Ninja 500's appearance without bloating the price much.